Thanks for checking out the Next Level Radio YouTube page. If you like what you hear, be sure to head over to nextlevelradioonline.com. There you can find out how to listen to more podcasts with great guests, including ones that are not on the YouTube page. You can either download them on iTunes, Stitcher, or just stream them straight from the website. You also find the links to follow us on Facebook and Twitter to keep you updated on everything we have going on. And you also find some other great stuff, including event coverage like Philly Comic-Con and movie reviews as well. Again, that's nextlevelradioonline.com. Thanks for listening.
We've gotten really lucky in the interviews that we've gotten so far. Everybody has been great.
Yeah, no curmudgeons.
No, everybody's been very engaging. I don't know if it's us or if it's just the people that we talk to or a combination of everything, but we've just been extremely lucky. So.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if it's like they really are having a fun time talking to us or it's like stripper syndrome where you just think that.
Oh my God.
Hi, I'm Derek Lee, and I'm Cliff Prowse.
Hey, what's up, you guys? I am Naturi Naughton.
Hey, this is comedian Craig Shoemaker.
You're listening to... When I'm not running from zombies, I'm listening to...
The Showcast on
Next Level Radio.
Next Level Radio. Have fun.
Welcome to another Showcast here on Next Level. Season 2, Episode 5. And cruising right along throughout the year. Can't believe it's February already. Man, this first month.
Yeah, January flew by.
January flew. So, but I am Ben Beck, joined by Adam Gorey, and joining us again, I'm pretty sure throughout the entire run of our Oscar review, Steve Richards.
Yes, sir.
So, I thought about something too, and I wanted to bring this up. For anybody who enjoys us talking about topics and stuff like that, apologies to all those people, because we haven't really gotten to many other than the reviews. We've had so many interviews, and then with the reviews and everything else, we just haven't had time to fit any topics into the show. So, we'll be right back to that after the Oscars and everything in a couple weeks, though.
Yeah.
So, but how was everybody's weeks this past week?
Good. It was filled with dancing sharks and other such things.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I predicted wrong. So did Steve.
Well, I almost didn't.
I wasn't going to say anything.
No, we almost didn't, but Seattle screwed Seattle. I mean, seriously.
Well, that catch was pretty lucky, though, in the first place.
That was pretty amazing. I don't care what you say. But, I mean... Honestly, without going on to a big rant, who throws the ball on second down on the 1 yard line?
In the middle of the field, nonetheless.
Yeah, I don't get it. So, Seattle screwed Seattle. They have nobody to blame but themselves.
Yeah, that's a way to put it.
Yeah, but I digress. I still hate New England and Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. But, so, yeah, I had a good week, too. Saw a comedy show last night. But that's about it.
Yeah, my week wasn't too busy. I watched a couple movies.
So did I.
Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Yeah, a couple movies we are going to be reviewing later on in this podcast. The Theory of Everything and Whiplash, which I'm actually really looking forward to reviewing both of these films a little bit later on.
I wish I had a Whiplash sound effect, like a whoosh.
I'm surprised you don't. You have a sound effect for everything else.
I know, right? I got...
That's not a whip.
That's after when you hit a whip on a window.
Yeah, that's
okay.
That's the sound it makes.
That's an after effect of a whip.
This is really the Whiplash sound effect.
Technically, you would be correct.
And that works too.
But also included in this week's podcast, we also have an interview with Amber Nash, another voice actor and improv comedian from Archer, from FX's Archer.
Yeah.
So we will have that a little bit later on, as well as our reviews, Weird of the Week, Next Level News, but let us kick things off with the box office for the week.
I can get it up.
I can't believe you still have that sound effect.
Why would I ever get rid of that?
I don't know. That goes back to what? Like
That was like our first couple episodes.
Yeah, early on.
That might have been pre-Showcast. That might have been Nerd Sentimental.
Maybe. I don't know. It's never going to die, though, if you have anything to do about it.
No, it will never die. So let's get into the box office opening up this week. Number 5, and by the way, in case Ben's not listening, again, like last week, we're going from 5 to 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Jackass.
Number 5, Paddington in its fourth week, it dropped back from number 3. 5.3 million with a 4-week total of 57.2 million. And as Steve likes to point out, still a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, Steve overinflates that to 106%. 106%. Opening up at number 4, Seventh Son. A little bit of a surprise here. Only made 7 million though, so I guess that's not really too much of a surprise. That has a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm not surprised.
47% from the audience. Opening up at number 3, Jupiter Ascending, 19 million, in its opening week. That has a 22% on Rotten Tomatoes, 51 from the audience. Ben saw it. Did you do a review on it?
I didn't do a review on it, as of yet. I'm wondering if I even should, because it really is not that good. It's, for a Wachowski movie, I expected a lot more, especially with something with a cast that it has.
You should probably stop expecting anything from them.
That's true.
Yeah, it's with the cast that it had and the past that they have, I was expecting so much more, and I didn't get it. So.
And Eddie Redmayne was in it too.
Yes,
who was in The Theory of Everything.
Yep. So,
going to number 2, getting kicked out of the number 1 spot, American Sniper. 7 weeks. It brought in another 24.1 this week. 7-week total of $282.2 million. And like we all pretty much figured last week.
Can I guess? Can I guess what the number 1 movie is?
You can, but I mean.
I'm assuming.
Talk about like asking why you have a certain sound effect. You asked me why I had the one about you getting it up. Why do you have that?
I purposely I got it just for this.
I don't know that you did. You're absolutely correct, though. SpongeBob SquarePants.
That's what I figured.
SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water. 56 million, so a very good opening week for that. And it's pineapple under the sea.
But we predicted that last week, too.
Yes.
We
yes,
figured that's what was going to take number 1.
Yeah, so it was only a matter of time before something new came along. So this week, as Steve mentioned last week, this week is Valentine's Day weekend. So Valentine's Day is Saturday. By the way, for those of you who are not suspicious, what's the word I'm looking for? It's Friday the 13th this week. Superstitious, that's what I meant. Anyone who's superstitious, Friday the 13th is when these movies come out. This coming week. That's
one of the main reasons I don't walk under ladders, because I'm very suspicious.
Yes, you are a suspicious character. But you know what Friday the 13th in February means? It means you also have Friday the 13th in March.
Oh.
It's exactly 4 weeks, unless it was a leap year. Anyway, enough about the calendar. On to the movies. 50 Shades of Grey coming out this week.
There are going to be a lot of people hurting themselves after this weekend.
I actually don't even know that I'm familiar with any of the people in this movie.
Look,
nobody wanted to be Christian Grey. There was like 2 people that had it and then backed out. Skarsgård was Christian Grey at one point and he backed out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that meant one of True Blood.
One of the main reasons behind that, though, is because of the fact that if you talk to anybody who's actually in the world of BDSM, they'll tell you full on, because I actually know a couple people who are in that world, that the book and the movie, which is based off the book, is complete bullshit. Like, that's not what that world is like at all. Yeah, so, I mean, they know whoever plays that role is going to get a lot of shit for it.
How is this not a pornography? From everything I heard about the book, it should be rated X.
Well, and that's another reason why.
I'd see it if it was rated X.
Yeah, I would too.
So, but I think that's another reason why, like, the movie, look, I'm going to say the movie's going to suck, but to women out there, it's not. It's not going to suck to them at all. They're going to love it.
Steve, you want to go see it this week?
Yes. Are they doing all 3 of the books in one movie, or is it going to be...
No, I think they're making 3 movies.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 50 Shades of Grey, 51 Shades of Grey, and 52 Shades of Grey.
That's not what the books are called. I guess that makes sense, though, to make as much money as possible.
Isn't it like 50 Shades Grayer or something like that?
I'm not sure what it is, but I know they're all 50 Shades something, I think.
50 Shades Darker, I think, is one. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, it's 50 Shades Darker. I was close with Grayer. If it's more gray, it's probably darker at the same time. Anyway, we spent too much time talking about that movie,
Yes.
so let's go on to one that actually looks pretty good. Kingsman: The Secret Service, with Colin Firth, Samuel L. Jackson, Michael Caine. Any movie Michael Caine's in, it has to be good, so I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to see that this week, so I'm looking forward to that.
I think it'll be cool. I wish people would stop comparing it to James Bond, but...
No, it's not James Bondy.
I haven't heard anybody compare it to James Bond.
There was in the commercials, the review is more badass than James Bond.
Oh.
So whoever idiot critic loses.
Which James Bond though?
I mean, they are secret. I mean, they are secret agents though. So I mean, I guess there's a slight comparison.
So is Austin Powers.
Well, that was a comedy though. This is a flat out action movie like the Bond movies were.
Touche.
So
it has an 81% on Rotten Tomatoes at the moment, so we'll see if that changes at all.
It's no Paddington Bear.
It is no Paddington Bear, but it's better than
106%.
Better than Jupiter Ascending. Next you have The Last 5 Years with Anna Kendrick, Jeremy Jordan, Meg Hudson, and Natalie Knepp, which is I'm not familiar with this one, so I'll read it to you guys. Based on the musical, a struggling actress and her novelist lover each illustrate the struggle and deconstruction of their love affair. Sounds like a boring 94 minutes to me.
I'm not going to be the idiot that tells you an Anna Kendrick musical movie is going to fail. So you can do that one, but I'm not going to do that.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that because Into the Woods did pretty well.
Yeah, none of them fail. And
you're saying you wouldn't say it. Okay.
Yeah,
Pitch Perfect is a cult classic.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I didn't think I would like Pitch Perfect, but an ex made me watch it, and I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
So
I think a lot of people enjoy it.
You also enjoyed Les Mis, so I'll take that for what it's worth.
Hey, Les Mis was a good movie. You just didn't like it because Anne Hathaway died in the first 20 minutes.
Well, yeah, that's false advertising, first off. She's in 100% of the preview. She's in about 20% of the movie.
She comes back at the end.
She does. Spoiler alert. As a ghost. I guess it's really not a spoiler.
It's really not.
No, but also they didn't speak at all in that movie. But I just haven't heard much about this movie, so I can't imagine it's gonna hit the top 5.
I love Anna Kendrick, though. I think she's adorable.
Totes adorbs.
Yeah.
She is wonderful.
And then there's 2 more. Next is What We Do in the Shadows, a comedy horror. Ben, are you familiar with this? You're the horror guru on the show.
I am not, actually. I'm not familiar with this one.
Obviously, you're no longer the horror guru on the show.
Because I don't know of one movie.
Yeah, well, considering the directors are also the stars in it, that could explain why, because usually they don't get as much, it's probably like a lower budget.
Yeah.
Not saying it's not going to be good, because if you recall, when we talked to Cliff Prowse and Derek, wait.
You're right.
Shit.
Derek Lee and Cliff Prowse.
Okay, I keep saying Cliff Lee because of the Phillies pitcher, but
yes.
For Afflicted, that was a fantastic film.
That is a really good movie.
nextlevelradioonline.com/interviews. Anyway, last one, Old Fashioned with Elizabeth Roberts, Rick Swartzwelder, Lehan Woods, and Tyler Hollander. I might be messing those up. About a former frat boy and a free-spirited woman together attempt the impossible, an old-fashioned courtship in contemporary America.
Whoa, some kind of statement film.
Kind of hit the nail on the head on that one. That is it, though. So the only ones I have ratings on are What We Do in the Shadows, that comedy horror with a 93%.
It's Jermaine. You guys
I lied.
Flight of the Conchords?
I lied. The last 5 years also is on there. It has a 57%. That's that Anna Kendrick one failing.
Gotcha. All right, then I guess I will take over. Moving on to DVD and Blu-ray releases for the week. It's actually a really good week for releases. Not a bad one in the bunch as far as ratings go. Starting off with Kill the Messenger, starring Jeremy Renner. Made about 2.4 mil at the box office, 77% on Rotten Tomatoes, 75 from the critics. So it did pretty good. I've heard good things, so that's one I'm definitely going to check out. It's going to be a rent for me for Kill the Messenger.
I'll give it a rent. Sure. Why not? I'll give it Netflix.
There you go.
Steve?
Yep, Netflix sounds good.
Okay.
It could be fun.
We'll watch it together. Just like right after 50 Shades.
Yep.
Oh, God. Moving on next to Rosewater, starring Gail Garcia Bernal and Kim Bodina. This is the movie that Jon Stewart had actually left The Daily Show for a couple months to go overseas and film.
Yeah, and it's a drama, too.
It is. And
it's one awesome.
It's one I'm definitely looking forward to seeing. 3.1 mil at the box office, but it did have a limited release. 74% for both the audience and the critics. So this is definitely going to be a rent for me as well. I want to check this one out.
Yeah, I'll go Netflix again.
I'd like to see it. I don't know, Redbox or whatever. Do they come out on Redbox at the same time?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Per IMDb, people who like Rosewater will like Kill the Messenger. So
there you go. Next, Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day, starring Steve Carell, Jennifer Garner. 66.7 million at the box office, 63% on Rotten Tomatoes, 61% for the audience. So still a good passing grade as far as Rotten Tomatoes goes. Another one. I'll check it out on Netflix once it's out. It's a Disney film and it's a comedy for Steve Carell, and I really can't recall a bad comedy. No, I take that back. Evan Almighty wasn't that good. But I can't recall many other bad comedies he's been in.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a rent as well. IMDb top 500. So.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Yeah. And last for this week is Nightcrawler, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Bill Paxton. 32.3 million at the box office, 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, 87 for the audience. I'm debating. This one might be a buy because I have heard really good things about this movie.
Yeah, so, I mean, I really want to see it. Without seeing it, I'll still give it a buy just because I heard a lot of really good things.
Yeah.
Steve, have you seen it?
I'm definitely going to see it. I was hoping that I was going to see it because it would be nominated for Best Picture, but it didn't. But
and also, there's a guy in the film named Michael Papa John. So I mean, you can't go wrong with a guy with the last name Papa John.
Is that true?
That is 100% true.
That's awesome.
So, but yeah, that is going to wrap it up for the box office for the week.
Hi, this is Pete Mitchell from No More Kings, and when I'm not running from zombies, I'm listening to Next Level Radio.
All right, so a couple of weeks ago we had a great opportunity to speak with the one and only Lucky Yates, one of the voice talents from the hit show FX show Archer. And this week we're talking to yet another one of those great voices. She comes from a long background in improv comedy as well as theater, but you might know her better as the voice of the socially inept Pam from Archer. Please welcome the wonderful Amber Nash. Amber, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys.
Before we're going to talk about Archer, obviously, but before we get started, I want to delve into your background a little bit. You have a pretty extensive background in improv and theater, as I said. What made you want to get into improv? What made you get started in improv?
I was actually in college. It was my first year of college, maybe my second year of college. I was 19, and I was studying biology and getting a minor in philosophy, of all things. And I was like, man, my life's kind of boring. I need, like, an outlet of some kind. And a friend of mine was like, hey, I just saw this thing, and improv wasn't really that big of a deal yet, in Atlanta at least. And he's like, I saw an improv show. You should come check it out. And so I went with him, and I was like, that is what I want to be doing. And so I took classes at that theater, which is called Whole World. It's still here in Atlanta. And then I took classes at another place called Laughing Matters that does, like, corporate improv. And then I found myself finally at Dad's Garage. And all the while I was getting a degree in psychology, and then I started working in the field. And eventually I decided to quit my job, my real job that was giving me a real regular paycheck to become a full-time improviser. So, yeah, that's how I got started. I saw a show, and then I took a bunch of classes, and that was it.
So you're telling me that the minor in philosophy was not enough excitement in your life to get you by?
Amazingly, I know. I thought it would be, but amazingly it wasn't.
Tell us a little bit. I did a little background reading, obviously, when we were prepping for the interview. Tell us a little bit about what the Doug Dank Project is, because I know you co-founded that.
Yeah, that's right. The Doug Dank Project was kind of an offshoot from some of the people at Dad's Garage. My friend Renee Delafont started the show, and it's basically there's a format called Armando that was actually created by Armando Diaz, and it's the monologist tells stories, and then so it's usually like a famous person or someone of note from the town that you're improvising in, and then the troupe does improv based off of their stories. So it's all based off of true stories that the monologist is telling.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I definitely know that how difficult improv is. I went to this past Saturday. I went to a show. There's a comedy club in Philadelphia called Helium. I don't know if you're familiar with at all. Mm-mm. And I went to. It was at midnight on a Saturday night. It was what they call a comedy roulette. And they had 8 improv comedians come out. Everybody from the crowd wrote suggestions and put them into a bucket. And then each comic had to come out, pick 6 suggestions, and then incorporate them into their act in one way or another. And they had to go through the 6 suggestions. And then throughout the night, they eliminated half each time until they were down to 1. And
wow.
I mean, and it was... So we got a couple rounds of comedy. We got a full 2 hours worth of improv comedy. But you could tell there were a lot of people that were definitely really nervous and kind of new to it. So it's not something, obviously, I don't think is for everybody. But I
don't think so. I think that a lot of people are like, oh, my God, it's such a terrifying idea to get up there and not have anything and go. And I think there are, like, certain personalities that gravitate towards that kind of thing. Because, like, doing stand-up, like, the idea of that totally terrifies me. But doing improv, I'm like, man, that's nothing. I just got to open my mouth and let stuff come out.
Yeah, so between the theater and the improv, I would assume just by the conversation and the way it's going, you would probably feel that the improv was a little bit more rewarding.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I love doing theater, like scripted work. Our theater actually also does scripted work, but all of our scripted work is created by our ensemble, so a lot of it comes from a place of improv. But I do enjoy doing improv because you're in that one theater with that one audience for that, hour and a half, and that show's never going to be seen again. It's just magic when it all comes together and everybody's there for that one thing, and then that's the end of it, and it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
I know when we talked to Lucky, too, he said, obviously he does some improv, too. Did you guys ever, I know Archer probably keeps you pretty busy, but you ever think about doing a little bit of touring with it? I know, like, Archer Live went around, but, like, touring with the improv aspect of it?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I've been touring, doing improv shows for years now. I've actually been all over the U.S. and Canada, and I've done 4 European tours, and so actually our theater actually tours quite a bit, and I was doing that a lot before I even started doing Archer. And Archer is actually not nearly as time-consuming as you might think. It's actually the easiest job on earth. Like, doing voice work is, like, the easiest. I have to go in once every 2 weeks for, like, 30 minutes. So it's not a time-consuming job by any means. And if I'm gone, like, I've actually recorded from Canada. Like, I've recorded from all over the world because they're like, yeah, just find a studio and we can record you anywhere.
Yeah,
that's so cool. The main reason I asked that is because I want you guys to come up to Philly and do like an improv show up here. I think that would be one of the most entertaining things. Yeah,
well, I got to find out who these Helium guys are because there's lots of theaters have tournaments or festivals, and they'll bring in groups from other cities, and we've been all over the place, but we don't have a contact there. So I'll have to get that information and then. Hey, bring us up.
I was going to say, we might have...
I actually know the contact at Helium, so I could definitely get you that information when we're, down the road. So, because Helium is...
Yeah, for sure. And then Lucky and I could come up and do an improv show for you guys.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Because I've been to Helium quite a few times, and it's a great club. It's one of the things that you would... It's pretty much what you would want. Because I've talked to a number of comedians who have performed there. I've had friends that have performed at open mic nights there, and they are... I've been told just from numerous comedians that are there, it is what you would expect out of a comedy club. I think the stage is a little small, but I mean, from what I understand, it's what you would expect out of a comedy club, or what you would want.
That's great. And actually, something funny is Lucky and I started a couple years ago, getting contacted by small cons, like, all over the place to do con appearances because, like, you know, we're not Aisha Tyler and John Benjamin. Like, we're easier, we're a little bit more accessible, and we're not nearly as busy and famous as those guys. And so the smaller cons would be like, hey, you guys want to come out and do this con for us? And we're like, yeah, sure, why not? And so we'd be doing a panel, you know, it's Lucky and I sitting on a panel talking about the show and answering questions. And then we were like, hey, why don't we do an improv show? And so now we've started, when we go to small cons, we'll do a panel one night, and then the next night we'll just do an improv show for the con audience. And it's become, like, one of our favorite things to do because it's just, that never happens at a con where you actually get to see, like, people that would be on a panel do a show for you. So it's been really fun to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, getting into Archer a little bit, you know, most people, I would think, know what Archer is by this point, especially after listening to us talk to Lucky. So we got a decent background on Archer there. But for anyone who isn't familiar with your very unique character, Pam Poovey, can you tell us a little bit about her?
Yeah, well, Pam was introduced to me, actually, before I even got the job as a sturdy bisexual director of human resources that everybody shits on. Basically, they're like, she's the one that everybody shits on. And she totally takes it. She totally is bad at her job. She's an irresponsible person. But I think, like, at her core, she's, like, a pretty stand-up person. You know, she grew up on a farm. She grew up on a dairy farm in Wisconsin. And she's just as much of a fuck-up as everybody on the whole show is. But, yeah, she actually ended up, after season one, she definitely was just getting, like, shit on all the time. But she started to kind of come into her own season 2 and 3 and become like this major badass that like is a drift car driver. She's like a graffiti artist. She's a bare knuckle boxer. Like she's just, there's nothing she can't do, which has been one of the most fun things about my job on the show is just like watching Pam like blossom into this total badass.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago with Edie's wedding, that episode, she was a pretty good badass towards the end of that episode too.
Yeah, it was great. And the fight scenes, like the animation's getting better, like everything about the show is getting better every single season, which is amazing because it was already like so good to begin with. But the animators are like fucking killing it. Like the fight scenes and the avalanche scene that happened earlier this season too, like good God, it looks so amazing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like you said, she's coming to her own. She's a bit of a badass. I mean, she has confirmed kills now, you know, being a field agent, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and actually on her back tattoo, at the top, there's like hash marks, and those are all the people apparently that she's killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like towards these later seasons, I haven't seen the earlier seasons for a while now. Sometimes I'll go back and watch them, but like, you kind of forget that she started out in HR at ISIS. Like,
totally.
She's such a badass. But I mean, the best way to describe her, I mean, with all the noises that she makes, the burps, and I mean, she really, like you said, she doesn't give a shit, which is awesome. Do you also voice like the multitude of sounds that she makes, like the burping and things like that? Do you also have to kind of burp on spot like that?
It depends. Like every once in a while, usually like when they do a burp, it's not me. They just put it in afterwards. Okay. And I'll always be like, come on, guys, let me try. So I'll like try in the booth, and they're like, it's okay, but we can totally find a better one.
Like amplify.
But all the like munching and like eating, like that's all totally me, just not burping.
It's tough. It's tough to, especially on the spot like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know one of the things about Pam, and I thought it was specific to Pam, but I'm starting to realize, because I had never seen the show before we talked to Lucky. We obviously, the great people over at FX, sent us screener copies of Season 5, which was Archer Vice, which I loved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then a couple episodes of Season 6, this current season that we're in now. So I got to watch them, and it had always been on my to-do list. It had always been in my Netflix queue. I wanted to watch it, and now I'm completely hooked. I went back to Season 1, and I started from the beginning, and I'm getting caught up. And one of the things
that's kind of what happens to people. Is like once they see one episode, they're like, "Oh, now I get it," and then they get hooked to it.
Yeah, and I was disappointed that I had waited this long to check it out.
Right.
And one of the things I noticed about Pam, at least at first, and now I'm starting to notice, it's not just Pam, it's pretty much every character on that show, that the one thing she was missing is a filter. She just has none. And
Totally, yeah.
I mean, and getting into that a little bit, I have to ask, just because I heard it, and I was curious from the beginning, where did the phrase "shit snacks" come from? That's
what's funny is there's a bit of a debate about where shit snacks came from, because I am for sure that Adam wrote that into a script, like for sure, and then it just kind of stuck as a catchphrase. I don't know if he was intending it as a catchphrase in the beginning. But then, like, not long ago, maybe like a couple years ago, we were on a panel, and Adam said that I improvised the line "shit snacks," and I was like, no way. Like, I would have never come up with that. Like, I appreciate it, but I would have never come up with it. So he says that I improvised it, but I totally didn't. I know that he wrote it. But another funny thing is Jessica Walter, the first time she met me, I think we were already almost in season 3, and I hadn't met Jessica yet because we all record separately. And I live in Atlanta, and she's in New York. And she was talking about Pam and how much she liked the character, and she said, "Holy shit cakes." And I was like, that's what it should be from now on, is shit cakes.
I would take credit for that, though. I mean, even if you didn't say it, if he gave you the credit for it, I would take it, because that's just that's just such a classic line. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It should be like a one of those license plates, the vanity plates.
Right. Totally.
You put it on Amber. You put it on a business card. Amber Nash, inventor of shit snacks.
You know, it would be perfect marketing. Actually, come up with, like, I don't know, just make it like chips or something, and call it shit snacks.
Yeah, or like little fudgy cake rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that actually makes more sense when it comes to Pam.
Yeah, and there's people all the time online that'll tweet to me like pictures of them like making green Russians or shit snacks, or like, you know, for the Archer premiere they make all these ridiculous like Archer themed snacks. It's pretty hilarious. And most of them like revolve around Pam, because I don't think anybody else in the show ever talks about food.
Well, I mean, shit snacks isn't the only phrase that she has. I mean, she uses sploosh, she uses inappropriate.
Yep.
And with all the sayings and everything, and all the voice work that you do with Pam, do you ever find yourself using those phrases in real life?
You know, I don't, and I've made a conscious effort not to, because I don't want to be like that douchebag that says lines from that show I'm on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I also have like a drawer full of like amazing T-shirts from the show, but I can't just like wear them around, because all my friends in Atlanta are like, okay, hot shot, like keep it under wraps.
I love inappropriate, by the way.
Inappropriate is pretty great.
Yeah, I've tried to install that in my daily life. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, and it's starting to bleed over into other characters too. Everybody's using it now.
Yeah, I never use the word inappropriate, so I can never use the word inappropriate. It's tough.
Right.
And when you do the character Pam, the voice, you know, obviously as we're talking to you, you can tell you have to use a little bit of inflection in your voice. That, you know, not every voice is just talking. Like, I can talk and do a voice. Do you have any other characters outside of Archer that you've come up with, like in your improv or anything like that you'll use?
Oh yeah, God, I've got tons of them. Because doing improv, like we're always doing character work, because our theater does a lot of that. And so we do, like, for years, probably 16 years now, we've been doing Scandal, which is an improvised soap opera. And so when a season of that show starts, you play one character for like 12 weeks. So there's characters from that, and there's characters from just improv shows. Like, I have my favorite character, and everybody that works with me at the theater will tell you this, is like, I love playing an old man, like an old prospector that usually ends up being a ghost. You're like, oh, here comes Amber with her old prospector character again, but I just love it. It's my absolute favorite. And, you know, like Southern people and, you know, Hispanic ladies, I've got tons. I'm not actually really great at doing voices. There's so many people out there that are so good at doing voices and accents and stuff like that. I'm not really great at it, but I'm pretty okay at coming up with a voice for a character. Like, if I'm auditioning for something and I get to see a picture of what the character is going to look like, it's like really fun to kind of noodle around and figure out what that character is going to sound like, you know?
Yeah, I think voice acting is such a cool and probably a very fun thing to do, and the way you're talking, it sounds like that's pretty much exactly how it is.
Yeah, it's so fun. I absolutely love it. And the great thing is like, I don't have to brush my hair, you know? I don't even have to get out of my pajamas if I'm doing it at home.
That's true. I didn't think about that. Outside of Archer, I mean, when you're just obviously, you know, being part of a voice actor, not everybody uses Google and knows what you look like.
great.
Do you ever get recognized just from your voice, out on the streets, as they say?
It's only happened one time, and I don't even know how true the story is, but I was actually at the theater, and I was doing a show, and a woman in the audience was watching the show, and she kept, thinking that she recognized my voice, and she's like, what is it? What is going on? And then she Googled my name because it had been announced at the beginning of the show, and she realized that I was Pam from Archer. So she actually did recognize my voice and figure out who I was based on that.
You said shit snacks on stage, didn't you?
No, never.
That's how she recognized your voice.
She's like, where have I heard shit snacks before? After seeing your voice paired with Pam, Pam is this, it's hard to describe her, but she's a hot mess, obviously. Are they shocked to find out what you actually look like? Because, I think every time I see, an animated show, and I look, there's very few people, maybe Jessica Walter might be the only one who looks like she sounds on the show, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. People are usually a little shocked, but if I'm on a panel, people are more shocked by what John Benjamin looks like.
Yeah, I would say that.
So different from Archer. But everybody on the show talks about how all the characters look similar enough to the actor that plays them that if there was a live action movie that they could play their character, even Chris and Cyril and Judy and Cheryl, they all kind of could pass with a little bit of makeup,
Oh, I think
not John and not me.
I think out of all the characters, I think Chris Parnell, Cyril, I think that's pretty spot on. I think that looks like Chris Parnell.
Yeah.
So,
and Aisha with she does. I think you and H. John Benjamin are the only two that are just way off base when it comes to the character.
Yep. Totally.
So, Adam, I just thought about this too. If we can get Amber in contact with Helium, and get her and Lucky down here, we know two other improv comics that we've spoken to that maybe we can team them up with them.
That's true.
We've spoken to Colin Mockery and Brad Sherwood from Who's Line as well.
I know Colin very well. He's actually been down to our theater a ton of times. So, we love performing with that guy.
That'd be awesome.
They're coming to Easton in November, which is probably about, I don't know, from Philly, what would you say, Ben? Maybe an hour and a half?
Easton, maybe about an hour and 20. It's not far.
There you go.
Awesome. Let's hook it up.
Yeah, let's work something out.
Who's the other person?
Brad Sherwood. He was another...
I don't know him. I've never met him before, but I know Colin very well.
Yeah, Brad's been touring with Colin, I think, for 11, 12 years? Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, I know I'm a big person. I've just recently gotten into the cons and things like that, and I love dressing up at Halloween parties. And especially more recently, I've seen quite a few pictures of people going to Halloween parties and events and conventions, and they're cosplaying as Pam now. I've seen quite a few people doing that. How does that make you feel to know that you're voicing a character that people love and embrace enough that they're willing to mimic it like that?
Oh, my God. It's the coolest thing ever. I think it's actually the best part of my job. The first time that I ever saw somebody cosplaying as Pam was at Dragon Con, which is the big con that happens in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And it was a man dressed as Pam, and he looked impeccable. His girlfriend, I think, is a makeup artist. He had the perfect hair. Because for a long time, people were having a hard time finding a good Pam wig.
Yeah.
He looked amazing, and I was like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever. And then this past year, I went back to Dragon Con. We have a podcast called Dad's Garage Radio that Lucky and I do with another guy named Mike Schatz, and we did the podcast at the con, and there was an Archer cosplay photo meetup that was happening, and I went to it, and I got my picture taken with 20 Pams. And it was I was just I could just die now. I could die, and you guys could all eat my body.
That would be so Pam.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Do you like going to the cons and stuff? Do you do a lot of them?
I do. I don't do a ton of them. Before I started doing Archer and was getting invited to go to cons, I wasn't a con person. Lucky, I'm sure talked to you about it, totally was. He's all about it. I am unfortunately not as much of a nerd as I would like to be, so I don't know a lot of what's going on when I go to a con. But I do like going, and I like, I mean, who cannot enjoy, like, people wanting to talk to you and tell you that you're nice and great and talented, you know? It's super nice to meet people, and everybody's so cool and so excited to meet you that it's like, of course I want to do this. It's so much fun. And, like, just walking around, because when I go to Comic-Con, like, in San Diego, being from Atlanta where Dragon Con is, like, there's so many amazing costumes, and people, like, put so much work into it and wear a different costume every day of the con, and it's so amazing. And there's not as much of that at San Diego Comic-Con and even at New York Comic-Con. So I kind of like the smaller cons. They're just, like, a little bit crazier. You don't know what you're going to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to our first one this past year over in Philly, and then I went to another one actually pretty local to me. It's a smaller one, probably like similar to Dragon Con in Allentown. Yeah. And I agree. I mean, like obviously in Philly, it's not so media frenzy that it, you know, like San Diego is, where I can see that not a lot of people wear them. But the costumes there were absolutely crazy. Like I didn't know, we both didn't know what to expect, Ben and I both. But I mean, I really was not prepared at all for what I was going to see when it came to the costumes.
Yeah, and you see a lot of, like, nudity. Like, people are like, oh, now's my chance to not wear any clothes in public, which is also fun.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, I mean, other than the cons and then with improv and stuff, what do you usually do? Like you said, Archer doesn't always keep you that busy. What else do you do to keep yourself busy when you guys aren't in production?
You know, most of it's theater, and my husband is actually the artistic director of Dad's Garage, so I'm kind of, like, always doing something theater-related. But other than that, if I'm not, like, working at the theater or doing Archer, I'm usually writing or playing with my dog, and that's pretty much all my day consists of.
What kind of dog is he or her?
Her name's Carol, and she is well, I don't really actually know what she is. She's a total mutt, but one of the people that lives at my building described her as a pit bull supermodel mix, because she looks like a pit bull, but she's, like, gorgeous and has really long legs. Yeah, she's the best.
You didn't name her Carol after the show, did you?
Oh, no, that's
no,
Cheryl.
I named her Carol after Carol Burnett.
Cheryl.
Yeah.
Carol. She changed her name so much in the first season.
Yeah.
Right.
How often do you and Lucky record the Dad's Garage podcast?
We try to do it once a week. Sometimes it's like once every other week. But, yeah, we do it about once a week, depending on everybody's schedule. And we do it just about anywhere. Like, we'll do it at my house or Lucky's house, or we'll go to a Mexican restaurant and do it there. And when we have guests in at Dad's, we'll do, like, special guest stuff. Like Colin was actually on our podcast. Yeah, it's pretty fun. We have a big, stupid time. I mean, it's not about anything. Like, it's just a bunch of people shooting the shit. So if you like to listen to that, then it's good for people. If you don't, then you might get kind of bored.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking, because I'd like to check it out. I mean, are you guys available on iTunes?
Yeah.
Yeah, and SoundCloud, and it's Dad's Garage Radio is what it's called.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely going to check it out. You guys should think about doing, if you ever do a convention, I know you guys said you do, like, live improv shows, but you guys should do, like, a podcast recording at a convention, too.
Yeah. Well, we did that at Dragon Con, and it's so fun. It's so much fun to have an audience. It was the first time we'd done it with an audience, and we're like, that is way better than doing it with a bunch of people staring at each other in a room, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, before we let you get going, it's Oscar season. Have you seen any of the Oscar nomination movies? Because the past few weeks, we've been reviewing a couple movies each week. Have you seen any of the 8 nominees?
You know, because I'm a member of the union, I get the screeners for the Screen Actors Guild Awards, which a lot of times are similar to what's going to be in the Oscars. So I've seen a lot of them, I think, but not all of them, because I don't know how to hook my DVD player back up since I have the speakers up to my TV. Let's see, what have I seen? Is Birdman nominated?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it nominated for Best Picture?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
That I think was probably one of the best movies I've seen in a really long time. I absolutely love Birdman.
Yeah,
we're actually about to review that right after we get done talking to you. That's one of our movies this week.
I really loved it.
No, we're not. We reviewed it last week.
Oh yeah, you're right.
We're reviewing Whiplash and Theory of Everything this week.
Shows you how much I paid attention to last week's.
Well, Amber, it's been great talking to you. We definitely want to encourage people to go and check out Archer. It's on FX Thursday nights at 10 o'clock. We want to encourage people to follow you on Twitter at Amber Nash. And I think you're behind Pam's Twitter account as well, right?
Yes, yeah, at Pam's Gossip Train. I also tweet for her.
Yeah. So we definitely want to encourage people to go to those 2 Twitter accounts, check it out. Check out Archer every Thursday night on FX at 10 o'clock. This has been great. We have to have you on again, and we definitely have to work on getting you in Lucky up here to Philly.
Absolutely. We'll be on a plane as soon as we figure it out. We'd love to do that.
Maybe we can host the show, Adam.
There you go.
Yeah, that'd be so much fun.
Yeah, we could do that.
And then we could do a podcast afterwards.
Oh, that would be awesome.
It's going to be a long night.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm in for it. I'm committed. So, Amber, thanks again. This was great.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. It was fun.
Hi, this is Kim Coates. I play Tig Traeger on Sons of Anarchy. You're listening to Next Level Radio with Adam and Ben. Hold on to your seats and grab the dogs. Things are crazy on this show. Wow.
Because I don't want no scrubs.
I still love that clip from that movie from Other Guys.
He's so good in that movie.
It's so good. I mean, from Other Guys to Birdman and everything.
Yeah, it's a well-known fact he was actually nominated for the Oscars Best Actor in a Leading Role for that movie.
Which one?
Other Guys.
No, he wasn't.
He should have been.
Oh.
He was a snub.
Nominated for an Oscar for The Other Guys, really?
As a leading role.
Best Actor in a Leading
Probably
Role.
in 4 scenes.
He was in more scenes than the girl from Whiplash. I know we're not talking about Whiplash yet, but I thought the female character, I forget her name.
Melissa Benoist.
Yeah, I thought she was going to be in the movie more.
His lady friend?
Yeah.
Yes. I think her name was Nicole.
She was in like 3 scenes and a phone call. That was like it. But anyway.
Yeah.
Next level news.
Well, before we get to next level news, how awesome was Amber Nash?
She was awesome. I forgot that we just talked to her that quickly.
Oh my God. So.
She was fantastic though.
Yeah. She was. She was a lot of fun, and hopefully something happening in the future with her and Lucky together. So we'll keep everybody posted on that. But let us move on with the next level news.
This is Next Level News.
All right, a lot of next level news to get to this week. I got about 6 or 7 stories, so we're going to try and push through them pretty quick. This one actually is from about 2 weeks ago, but I forgot to mention it, so I'm going to bring it up. X-Men live-action TV series in development at Fox. What? Yeah, more superpowers could be coming to the small screen with an X-Men TV series confirmed to be in the very early stages of development at Fox.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome.
It's the superhero stuff is like completely and utterly in every way, shape, and form right now.
It's the new vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm more than happy with
Yeah,
it,
I'm
too.
okay with that.
So, I mean, you've got...
Now they just need a Blade TV show to bring the two together.
They had one, and it didn't work.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
There was a Blade TV series.
Now they need a good Blade TV show, and then they'll combine the two together.
Does it say who's playing Wolverine? That's the only thing that matters.
Hugh Jackman, probably.
There's actually not a lot of details
They
on
refuse to let him not play Wolverine.
Yeah, there's not a lot of details as of yet. It's still in the early stages of development. But according to Marvel and Fox, it makes sense to tell some of these stories in TV, partly because there's just not enough screens to do all these characters. So,
Sure. Steve, you going to try out, Steve?
Maybe. Who should I play?
I thought you wanted to play Wolverine.
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
The new Hugh Jackman.
Ben can play Charles Xavier.
I could now.
He's already got the haircut.
Yeah. And I have no problem sitting down. Moving on. Point Break reboot moved to Christmas 2015.
Speaking of Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, well, Keanu Reeves isn't in this one.
No, he was in the last one.
Yeah, he was in the last one. Warner Brothers has moved its reboot of Point Break back nearly 5 months from July 31st to Christmas, essentially swapping dates with Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible 5.
Who'd have ever thought they wanted to remake a Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves movie? What, the first one wasn't good enough?
Point Break is a good movie.
Okay.
The original one was.
I know, but it's just funny that when you see those two names tied together.
Well, why would you? Why would you want to?
Right.
Point Break is the fourth title set for Christmas on the day after Mission Impossible 5 moved to July. Sony dated the Will Smith drama Concussion on the holiday. Paramount's Monster Trucks and Fox's Jennifer Lawrence, David O. Russell Project Joy are also opening on Christmas. So, moving on.
It won't matter. Star Wars will be number 1.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, we can make that prediction now. Moving on, the Emmys are returning to Sunday night in 2015. Fox will air the 67th Primetime Emmy Awards live from Los Angeles on Sunday, September 20th. The Network and Television Academy announced on Wednesday.
No, that was last week we talked about the Golden Globes, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm like, wait, didn't we just do the story? No.
Yeah, we're in between the Golden Globes and the Oscars, so the Emmys will be aired on... last year they were aired on a Monday in August to avoid a conflict with Sunday Night Football in the MTV Music Awards, but they will be moving back to Sunday night starting this later on this year in September. So, Netflix is developing a live-action Legend of Zelda series. So, according to the Wall Street Journal, Netflix is working closely with Nintendo to develop a live-action series based on the massively popular Legend of Zelda series. Netflix is... They're still actively searching for a writer to work on the series, so for now it's still wearing...
How's there not a live-action Pokemon, then?
I don't know.
That's right around the corner, I bet.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
So it's still in the early stages, but it is currently in development.
Little known fact: Zelda's a girl.
No, she's not. Oh, yes, she is.
Oh, see, that's why it's a little known fact.
Link is the boy.
Link is the boy.
Link is the boy. That's right. I got confused for a second.
Where's your Price is Right music now?
Wow, that was broken up and pitiful.
Sure was.
That's like a fail on top of a fail.
I know.
I mean, there's really nothing that describes Ben more than what just happened.
Can I continue with the next level news, please?
You can try.
I still have a couple more stories to get to. ABC is reviving BattleBots as a summer reality series.
I heard about this. This is fantastic.
Yeah, 12 years after BattleBots ended its run on Comedy Central, ABC has picked up a reimagined take of the killer robot combat sport from Whale Rock Industries and the creator of the original BattleBots franchise. Former ABC topper Lloyd Brahm executive produces the project, which has received 6-episode order to air this summer. I think it would be awesome if they could get Grant Imahara, formerly of Mythbusters, to host it.
Yeah, that would be cool. Who hosted it before?
Sklar Brothers.
They were the hosts?
I think so. They're in the picture of the show.
Oh. Well, it was on Comedy Central, so that would make sense if they had the Sklar Brothers do it.
Sean Salisbury was the play-by-play anchor, and Bill Nye was the technical expert. The show was awesome.
That's right.
That's fantastic. How did that show not stay on air for 20 years?
They have the Sklar Brothers as feature reporters.
Oh, interesting.
So, that should be pretty cool, though, when ABC brings it back.
Awesome.
2 more stories we'll push through pretty quick. Neighbors 2 with Rogan and Efron is on its way.
Oh, jeez.
Universal. Hey, I liked the first one. I thought the
I
first
did
one was
too,
pretty
but
funny.
Just make a new movie with them in it. You don't have to make a sequel.
Universal announced that Neighbors 2, featuring the first movie's stars Seth Rogen, Zac Efron, and Rose Byrne, is headed to theaters May 13th, 2016. Director Nick Stoller will return to helm the sequel as well.
I love Rose Byrne.
I do too, and you know what? Who would have ever thought that I would have actually come around on Zac Efron?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't remember how that ends. I thought since it was like a slapstick movie, I thought they killed him at the end.
No, he got arrested.
Oh yeah,
he got arrested, but then he also worked at
Abercrombie
and Fitch.
Yeah, because the movie ended with him and Rogan taking their shirts off and both of them posing.
Oh yeah, that was great.
In the mall. So, but yeah, I came around on Zac Efron during 17 again with Matthew Perry.
That was the movie?
Yeah, that's actually the movie I came around on him on. I thought it was pretty funny.
Well, how many movies has he done? You don't have that many options.
Well, St. Charlie's War.
Yeah, I really
St. Charlie's War.
I came around on him when he did High School Musical too.
Oh yeah,
really?
That was the one that did it for me.
No, not me. And finally, for next level news, I saved this one for last. Mel Brooks says a Spaceballs sequel is in the works.
Oh, man. This can only be good.
With a new Star Wars trilogy in the works, comedian and filmmaker Mel Brooks says he's actively working on a sequel to his iconic spoofing Spaceballs, which would begin filming after the December 2015 release of Star Wars The Force Awakens.
But you know what? This isn't going to work out. Because, what's-his-face doesn't do movies anymore.
Rick Moranis. And that's the thing that it goes further into the story. He had some great ideas for a sequel. However, Moranis' participation or lack thereof has proved to be the biggest obstacle. Without Rick, I wouldn't do it, Brooks explained. I've got the helmet in storage, just waiting for him. So, I mean, obviously you wouldn't be able to bring back Joan Rivers and John Candy since they've both since passed.
Right.
So obviously you could do a movie without two stars who have passed on, but to do the movie without one of the stars that's still alive and could do it, it just wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, gotta get Rick Moranis.
So I think if any movie could bring Moranis out of retirement, though, if even just for this movie, I think that would be amazing. And he's also
I'm surrounded by assholes.
And he's also said that the title would be Spaceballs 2: The Search for More Money. Which is what he quoted it to be in the movie.
Perfect.
I also heard a rumor of another possible title of the movie would be Spaceballs 3: The Search for Spaceballs 2. Which would be pretty damn funny.
That would be good.
So, I mean, especially with a lack of some of the original cast members, you could probably do that.
Well, they didn't do a spoof of the episodes 1, 2, and 3. So is this one is supposed to be a spoof of the new ones, right? Like the brand new ones?
I would think so. I don't know.
Because they could easily do, I mean, there's going to be 9 total Star Wars movies. They could easily make a trilogy spoofing each trilogy.
True. So, but yeah, I would love to see a Spaceballs sequel.
Yeah, I would see that.
So, I don't think he's made a sequel of anything he's ever done.
She's gone from suck to blow.
So, yeah, I don't think out of all the movies he's done, I don't think he's ever done a sequel to any of them.
No, not that I can think of.
I know a lot of people, when I was reading some of the comments online, a lot of people were saying, hey, you know, forget Spaceballs 2. I want to see Jews in Space from History of the World Part 1.
Yeah,
it's at the very end, you know, History of the World Part 2, Jews in Space. A lot of people don't realize that was Spaceballs.
Is that technically a sequel?
No, Spaceballs wasn't a sequel to History of the World.
History of the...
No, it was aptly named History of the World Part 1 as a joke.
Oh yeah, that's right. There was never a 2.
There was never a Part 2.
That's right.
So, but at the end, there's the whole fake trailer for Jews in Space. And a lot of people don't realize that technically was Spaceballs.
That would make sense.
That's what it became. So there is no way to do Jews in Space because it was already done as Spaceballs. So, but that is going to wrap it up for the next level news. On to our movie reviews for this week. We had two more Oscar-nominated films that we reviewed, that being The Theory of Everything, starring Eddie Redmayne and Felicity Jones, as well as Whiplash, starring J.K. Simmons and Miles Teller. Let's start with The Theory of Everything. All right, Devo. Let's start with The Theory of Everything and work our way there. One of you two can kick this one off.
Is anyone going synopsis on us?
Oh, I got it right here. Sorry. Theory of Everything is pretty simple synopsis. It's the relationship between the famous physicist Stephen Hawking and his wife. That's pretty much it.
Yes.
So.
That is.
It's actually based off the book that his wife wrote. So.
Yeah, it was based off her second memoirs.
Yeah, it's essentially Stephen Hawking's life through her eyes, because that's what they based the book off, or they based the movie off of the book.
And I didn't realize there's actually a BBC TV movie starring Benedict Cumberbatch called Hawking from 2004 that's based off her first memoirs.
How was that?
I've never seen it, but I read about this and I realized it was based off her first memoirs, which were not as you could tell from this movie as more of the positives of their relationship. I think the first one was more of the negatives and the struggles of their relationship.
Okay.
So, But no, I thought it was, I really liked it. I mean, and you can tell, like, it's definitely a biopic, but it's more of a biopic about both of them and their relationship, not just Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I didn't realize going into it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So, I would definitely say that when I first started this movie, I had heard a lot of great things, so I went into it with a lot of high expectations. And when I first started watching, it was a movie that, within like the first 20 to 30 minutes, I was really worried I wasn't going to like it. I was really worried I was going to be bored with it. But by the end of it, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, it has a little bit of a slow build in the beginning. I'll agree to that. But the end does really come on strong.
Yes, it really does. And it's actually very inspirational. I knew what kind of disease Stephen Hawking had, and as far as I've always known Stephen Hawking in my life, I've always known him to be the way he is now.
Oh, you know him personally?
Now, you know what I mean, you jackass.
The way you sounded, like you guys were best friends, like he's coming over your house
well,
later.
You never know.
So, it has an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, certified fresh.
So, but yeah, I've always known him to be the way he is now, in the wheelchair and speaking to the computer. I never knew of his life before that, so it was really inspirational to find out what he went through, especially considering he was only predicted to live for 2 years once he was diagnosed, and that was back in the early 70s.
60s he was diagnosed, yeah.
ALS is a weird one. Some people live for a really long time. Some people deteriorate quickly, I guess. The Saints has a former special teamer who's kind of famous now, has ALS, and he's lived for much longer than he was supposed to. So, but yeah, you're right. Inspirational stories. That's always a good thing.
He was diagnosed in his 20s, and he's in his 70s now. I mean, 50 years, and it is like you said. I mean, same thing. Ever since I've been alive, he's been how he is now. You know what I mean? You never knew what he was like beforehand, and everything that he went through leading up to where he is now. And, you know, I mean, you always just figure, I mean, you know that at some point, you know, they came up with the way to actually help him talk. It was cool to see how all that came about.
Yeah, exactly. I will say too, as far as the acting goes, I was not too familiar with Felicity Jones before this. Apparently I had seen her before because she'd been in Spider-Man 2, but I wasn't too familiar with her at that point. I just want to say she's beautiful. Yes. I didn't know who she was before, and she is absolutely stunning. I think she's gorgeous. And Eddie Redmayne is brilliant.
Also gorgeous.
Also beautiful.
But I mean, like, he's brilliant as Stephen Hawking, especially later on in Hawking's life when he's in the wheelchair and, you know, full on into the ALS. It
was hard to tell that it was him. Like, you really thought you were watching Stephen Hawking a lot of times.
Yeah.
That's the idea of the acting, I think. He really kind of enveloped himself into the role.
Yeah, he nailed it, for sure.
So, I think after seeing this performance, if he wins the Oscar for Best Actor, it's well deserved. It is very well deserved.
Yeah, like Steve said last week, would not be surprised at all.
Yeah, and seeing the Oscar nominees, we get the privilege of seeing all of the actors as well, except for one, who is Steve Carell. So, and actually, we've already seen all of them now, with Eddie Redmayne being the last one. So, you can kind of get a good gauge on who you think will win the Oscar. And I think it's fair to say that it's probably Eddie Redmayne.
By the way, future Daredevil was in this movie. Charlie Cox, who played Jonathan Hellier-Jones, which is the choir guy.
Yeah, he's the family friend.
Yes.
Who
yes, he's going
to Jane Hawking eventually marries.
Yes, he's going to be Daredevil on the new Netflix series coming out in April.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I didn't know who that was. I still haven't watched that trailer yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Check it out. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, I need to. On a scale of 1 to 10...
Black holes.
There you go. I was going to say wheelchairs, but black holes work.
That's probably a bad idea.
We already said it now, so...
You might want to edit that out of the podcast.
It's not...
1 to 10 cripples.
I did not say cripples. All right. 1 to 10 black holes.
You implied it.
Racist.
Next week when we do Selma, what are you going to say?
Careful now.
Marches. 1 to 10 marches. Monuments.
Ay.
So
can we, next week for Boyhood, can we do 1 to 10 years?
No, because it's more than that.
Okay, 1 to 12 years.
Yeah, it's 1 to 12 years.
I give it 12 years.
All right, on a scale of 1 to 10 black holes, before this conversation goes way out of control.
You started this. I just want to throw that out there.
What do you give the movie?
Steve, you can go first.
You guys were talking about how much you liked it the whole time, and then I didn't really chime in with. I wasn't all that impressed with it when Ben said that he was kind of afraid that he would get bored with it. I did get bored a little bit with the movie, but it's a really good year, and I think I'm just comparing it to everything else when the only movies I've seen in the last month are supposed to be the best movies of the year. So, it's a good movie, but I guess comparing it to the others, I would put it at 6.5 black holes, putting it on par with Grand Budapest Hotel for me.
All right.
Okay. I'm trying to think. I have Imitation Game the highest right now, followed by, I believe, American Sniper, and then Birdman. And then Budapest is after. I think I gave Birdman an 8-ish. I forget. No, I gave it 8.25. That's right. So I'm gonna give this one a 7.5. Black holes.
That's probably right around what I would give it to. I'd probably give it about a 7.5 black holes. It's a great movie, but as you said, Steve, compared to a lot of other movies, standing by itself, it's a fantastic movie, but against some of these other films that are up, it's a tough race.
It's just kind of what we're doing, so we're kind of comparing.
Yeah, but I mean, speaking to actor in a leading role, though, like you said, I mean, it's obvious that Eddie Redmayne can easily win Best Actor without the overall movie being worthy of Best Picture.
For sure, that happens more often than not.
Yeah, so I don't remember what I gave Grand Budapest. I'll have to go back and find out. But I like this one's above Grand Budapest, but below the other three.
Yeah, I got to go back and remember what I gave the other movies too, because I kind of forget. I know I gave Birdman. I gave Birdman an 8.5, and I gave Imitation Game a 9. But I got to go back and remember what I gave Grand Budapest, and what was the other one that we did? American Sniper.
Imitation Game. Oh.
No, Imitation Game got a 9.
That's right, yeah.
So I got to go back because we should probably recap our scores and put them on
Facebook, we probably
too.
Should have been doing this the entire time, but
at some point.
I wrote mine down, so you guys are welcome.
Thanks for writing ours down.
There you go.
Talk about selfish.
But moving on, we had one other movie that we did watch this week, that being Whiplash. As I said, starring J.K. Simmons and Miles Teller. Whiplash is a
not to be confused with J.K. Rowling and Miles Davis.
No.
Totally different film.
Oh my God.
You're a drummer, Harry.
I'm a what?
That is so ridiculous. It's actually funny. I would watch that.
Spoof time.
Whiplash. Yeah, Whiplash is a movie about a promising young drummer who enrolls at a cutthroat music conservatory where his dreams of greatness are mentored by an instructor who will stop at nothing to realize a student's potential. I want to kick things off with this one because I started off in college as a music major, so I kind of have a little bit of, I don't want to say insight because I wasn't a drummer, but
I, however, as we figured out last week, played the drum.
You did.
So I'm what you would call an expert.
J.K. Simmons' character is a dick.
He sure is.
Like, there's no doubt that Fletcher is a dick.
That is correct.
And I have seen, as I said, as a music major, I have seen teachers with this much passion. Maybe not as much as him. But I've also seen musicians with as much passion as Andrew, which is played by Miles Teller, has. So I've seen this firsthand, and it's no joke. It really is no joke. So, but movie-wise, I loved it. I thought it was a great movie. But I might have enjoyed it more because I was a musician and I've been through it. So I might have. So I don't know.
You've been through that?
No, I haven't been through that. No.
I was gonna say you might want to see therapy.
Oh God, no! If I went through that, I would have quit the first day. I would have been out. There's no way I would have put up with this shit.
Yeah, Paul Reiser, by the way, in this film.
Yeah, played his dad and Melissa Benoist, who we had mentioned before, who's playing Supergirl.
Yeah,
yeah, on CBS. She's another cute one. So
yeah,
formerly of Glee. I think she's still in Glee. I'm not sure.
No, she's not. I found out today.
Oh,
for my wife. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Apparently,
she stopped being on it last season. But back to the movie itself, Whiplash. I thought it was a good movie. I was coming into it expecting it to be a good movie, so I wasn't disappointed. I am not a huge Miles Teller person. He reminds me of like a early Shia LaBeouf, just because maybe he kind of looks like him a little. I don't know, but
he's not that bad.
No, that's what I mean. But he just looks a little bit like him for some reason. But he was good in this movie. J.K. Simmons was fantastic in this movie.
Oh my God, he was incredible.
And like you said, he was a complete dick. But for a while I wasn't sure where it was going. And it's an hour and like 45 minutes long. It didn't feel that long. It felt shorter than that, so that's a good thing. That's a positive on it.
Yeah.
But no, I was coming into it really excited to see it. This Imitation Game and American Sniper were probably my three most anticipated, and none of those three let me down. They all lived up to my hype that I built up inside my head.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
I would agree. Yeah.
Gotcha. I also grew up in the music world, so maybe, you connect with it more, or at least you know what they're talking about when they talk about measures and stuff like that. When you talk about the music lingo, it's kind of, you're already in the world and you can understand it, which is good. And we talked about Eddie Redmayne, as an actor in a leading role. To me, without having seen too many of these movies, so I probably can't really say it, but, J.K. Simmons is as close to a slam dunk as you're going to get for an Oscar. Yeah. He's nominated in a supporting role when he was a leading actor.
I was going to say, he's borderline leading role in that film.
Yeah. I mean, Miles Teller's in every scene, so he's obviously the lead actor, but you could have made J.K. Simmons the lead actor, and the fact that he gets nominated for a supporting role, this is a slam dunk for him, at least as far as I'm concerned. I heard Robert Duvall's really good in The Judge, but I don't see him being better than what J.K. Simmons was.
Is J.K. Simmons...
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, is J.K. Simmons nominated for supporting actor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He plays the dick role well. He proved that on Oz, and he's reincarnated it in Whiplash, so.
He played it as J.
Jonah
Jameson, yeah.
Yeah.
He was a dick.
Yeah, and, I heard him on Stern, and he, earlier this week, and he said he's really proud of the movie, and he probably should be. I liked the movie a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun. Maybe fun wouldn't be the right word, but I thought it was fun to watch anyway.
It was definitely tense. It was intense, and there were a lot of tense moments.
I thought the last scene was awesome.
I was just going to say that too. I thought the last scene, on stage with him and with the two of them together was just, there was so much intensity in that scene, and it makes the scene takes a complete 180 turn from where it starts, to the point where, like, you're so pissed off at the beginning of that scene, but by the end of it, like, you just have so much pride for the two characters, and it's just, oh my God, it's so well done.
Talk about Fletcher being a dick. The move he pulled
oh my God.
on that last scene is such a dick move, but it was great. I really was happy with the ending.
Yeah, I was too. Like, I'm almost tempted to go back and just watch the last 10 minutes of that movie again, just because it's so great.
Yeah, I mean, the last scene is a good, probably 20 minutes. Felt like 10 minutes of drum solo at one point.
Yeah, I guess it is maybe about that long. It's probably like long, a good 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty long.
Yeah.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10 snare drums.
We did that last week.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, did we? For Birdman, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Ben, I don't know if you noticed this. Steve might have noticed, but there was no singing in the soundtrack to this movie.
Meaning what?
Well, because all the music was jazz.
I was being a dick.
Oh,
because of what you said
last week, and you called Adam out for not noticing things.
Yeah. When you singled Steve out for the drum thing last week.
I did notice that, though.
Thank you.
All right, so you're a dick. It's established.
Well then.
All right, so if we did snare drums last week for Birdman, what do we want to do this
How about
week?
drumsticks?
How about
Drum rolls?
rental car accidents?
Fair enough.
Sure.
No, let's not do that. That's as bad as wheelchairs.
I can get it up.
Oh, God, you asshole. All right, yeah, so how about drum rolls? 1 to 10 drum rolls.
Sure.
Since I started with the reviews, I guess I'll go first. I think I've already given a movie an 8.5, but I'm going to give another one an 8.5. I think that's a solid rating for this one. So I'm giving an 8.5 out of 10 drum rolls.
Yeah, I gave Birdman. I'm pretty sure I gave it an 8.25, and I gave American Sniper an 8.5. I'm gonna go 8.25 on this one though as well. It's right there with Birdman for me.
I think that means that all three of us have a rating that's exactly the same as Birdman. I went 8.25 on Birdman.
Alrighty. Well, if you like Birdman, you'll like this.
Do we know what high school Miles Teller went to? I'm looking at his IMDb page, and he's from Downingtown.
In real life?
Yes.
Oh yeah, he is from Downingtown.
No.
And you're going to get to see more of him because he's playing Reed Richards in the new Fantastic Four movies.
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that, but
I'm still not sure.
He's really young to play a Reed Richards.
They're all really young to play any of those characters.
That's true, but what's her name? The one playing, God, I'm terrible at this.
Kate Mara.
Oh, the one.
Yeah,
Kate Mara. Yeah,
thank you.
from House of Cards.
Yeah.
She caught a train.
Back next week.
It doesn't say what high school he went to, by the way. He moved around a lot.
I was just looking at his IMDb page and it said he's from Downingtown.
Yeah, he also lived in Cape May, Jersey. He did play the saxophone and was a drummer. So, that answers the question for anybody who wants to know if he knows how to play the drums.
In a role like that, I don't think you could get somebody who wasn't at least familiar with playing drums.
Yeah, that would be a lot to learn for a movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's really him playing the entire time, but I mean, you wouldn't be able to do, somebody who hasn't had any kind of drum experience wouldn't be able to do that role.
Speaking of rental car accidents, he was in a near fatal car accident in 2007.
Your research goes deep, man.
Yeah, well, it was next level here. We do not mess around.
All right, so that's our two solid ratings for this week for Theory of Everything and Whiplash. Next week, two left. Boyhood and Selma, followed by the week after would be the Oscars. So next week we'll do two more ratings. We'll run down our ratings for all 8 of the films. Maybe possibly even see if we can fit in, like I said, St. Vincent and Foxcatcher, since they at least have actors that are nominated. We'll see if maybe we can squeeze them in throughout the week. If not, no big deal. We'll see if we could maybe talk about them after the Oscars. But next week we'll give the rundown of all of the. We'll do our last 2 reviews. We'll run down all of our reviews for all of them, and we'll see if maybe we'll make a couple predictions as well.
Yeah, next week's the big pre-Oscar show, and we also have an interview.
You do this time, you and Steve, because I'm unavailable to do it this time. So Steve's going to get his feet wet.
God,
shut up.
Steve's done interviews before for primetime.
Okay, well there you go.
But yeah, next week like I said last week, we talked to Eric Andre at the beginning of the season for Man Seeking Woman. Now we have Maya Erskine from Man Seeking Woman coming on next week, joining us on the podcast.
That show's starting to pick up too. I'm glad that we're getting to talk to her during the middle of the season. It's gotten better as the episodes have gone on.
Yeah, I think it's getting good reviews too, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. People like it because it's different. So
it's very different.
Oh yeah, definitely different.
But in a good way.
Yeah. Hey, before we wrap up, tonight is the return of The Walking Dead, which by the time people are listening to this podcast, obviously it would have already aired, as well as the premiere of Better Call Saul, which is the Breaking Bad spinoff. And it's, if you guys are cool, I want to spend maybe just like 2 or 3 minutes on this. There's been a lot of TV shows that premiered this year. Obviously, we have some favorites, being The Flash, and Arrow's still a big favorite, even though it's in the 3rd season. Are there any shows that came out this year that you guys started watching and are pretty much just done with already? Because I know I have a couple.
As in this year, like in the last few weeks, or just this season, like since fall?
This season or last season, because I actually have one that I started watching this year, and I stopped weeks ago watching it. And there's one that that premiered last year that I was really into, and not so much this year since it made its return. Because I'll tell you right now, I started watching Gotham this year. I gave Gotham a chance, and I got really bored with it.
Yeah, that was one of mine. I watched like 4 episodes of it, and then I didn't need it anymore, so I just let it go.
That was probably around the same time as me.
But I did the same thing. I think I watched 2 or 3.
For Gotham?
Yeah, I kind of just stopped watching it, because I don't really watch shows live. I do all DVR stuff, so there must be something else on that takes up my DVR or something.
Well, and at the same time, though, there's just so many other things I'm watching or I want to watch. I actually want to go back and watch Heroes for the new one coming out.
So, yeah, the other one, and the other one that I was watching, I was really into Sleepy Hollow last season, and the beginning of the second season was really good, and then it took a break, and it came back, and the feel of the show was so different that I was like, yeah, I don't like this. So actually, that's another one I dropped, just because, again, I just wasn't crazy about it.
What did they change? Was it just like...
Well, the whole story that they were going into in the first season and the first half of the second season wrapped up before they took a break. And it came back with a whole new show, and now this time, like the first season was all about like the Headless Horseman, and how the Headless Horseman was one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and they brought in a couple other ones, and you know, how the 4 horsemen were working together to bring forth a demon, and you know, it all came together and they stopped it. Well, now, since the show has come back, now they're bringing in angels and all this other stuff, and I'm like, no, now it's getting to be too much. You know, now you're bringing in angels and everything else. Like, now it's getting to be a little too much. So
Oompa Loompas is a bit over the top.
Yeah, because they start singing about chocolate. It's just, it's not that fun.
Especially if it were the Oompa Loompas from the newer one.
Well,
that's all the same actor.
Yeah, I know. It's just weird.
I struggle in general with broadcast. That's not the word that I'm looking for, but broadcast dramas. Yeah. Which is a really pretentious thing of me to say, but I don't watch any broadcast dramas. I only watch sitcoms on...
It makes sense, though, when you think about it, because they can be more realistic, the dramas.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to hold anything back.
Right.
So I see where you're coming from. So you are pretentious, but I see where you're coming from.
There are, however, a couple shows I've stuck with and I'm still into.
Scorpion
is, I love that show. I think that show's so well done. I know it's in its 5th or 6th season right now, but I'm still really liking Hawaii Five-0. It's still probably in my top 5 favorite shows on television right now. Behind, obviously, Arrow, Flash, and Walking Dead, and Scorpion. So, I don't know what would fill into that 5th spot right now. But I know Scorpion or Hawaii Five-0 is definitely still up there even after all this time.
Yeah, I want to watch that. And I've wanted to mainly because there's a Lost alum on it, but it actually looks entertaining too.
There's actually multiple Lost alumni on it now.
You know, another show that I watched the first 2 episodes, and it wasn't really that interesting, to me at least, maybe it got better, was Agent Carter.
Agent Carter is really good. I'm actually still digging Agent Carter right now.
Did it pick up? Okay.
I thought it was a miniseries. Is it a real show?
I think it is a miniseries.
Yeah, I think they're almost wrapped up. It's going to be wrapping up right before Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes back.
Yeah.
So, it was only a filler between that and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It was like, what, 8 or 10 episodes?
I think it's 8. I think it's 8 episodes. So, but it was really cool because last week's episode actually saw a reunion of the entire team from Captain America.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, then that's cool.
So, it's well done. It's nice to have a strong female lead, especially in a Marvel universe. So, but it's well done. But there's a lot of good TV shows out there. I don't have nearly enough time to watch them all, especially considering, like you said, Steve, House of Cards is restarting.
Yeah.
Is coming back. Game of Thrones is going to be coming back in April. So, so much television to watch.
Daredevil comes out in April.
Yeah, but the Netflix shows, especially like House of Cards and everything, you can binge watch the entire season.
Yeah.
Which I really like.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. You don't have to wait weeks. You just have to, you rush through it and then you have to wait an entire year.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta pace yourself.
Yeah.
Doesn't NBC have a new, was it NBC? They had like I don't remember if it was them or ABC, but somebody had a show coming out that essentially looked exactly like the FX show The Americans.
Yeah, they should.
But
that's NBC, I think.
But yeah, I don't remember what it was called.
They have that
was
and the slap, so NBC's really stepping up their programming.
I saw the thing for the slap. And like, when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, the slap, that's interesting. I didn't realize it was literally about a slap. And that's the whole premise for the entire, and that's a miniseries too.
Well, I hope so. They're going to do like 24 episodes about that.
It seems that more and more television shows are going the route of the BBC approach. You know, where they're only 8 to 10 episodes and then they wrap up the season.
Yeah, unfortunately, they don't all hire the awesome wire actors to be the lead actors of their shows.
I do want to see Heroes Reborn though.
I don't know, because I was very skeptical. I liked the first season.
First season
Heroes.
was so good.
The first season was great, and then the finale of the first season disappointed me.
Yeah,
like, extremely disappointed.
Yeah, they built it up really well, but yeah, and then season 2 is okay, and 3 and 4 essentially should never have been made.
No, they should have wrapped it up after season 2.
They
introduced too many powered people too quickly after the second season.
It might as well just be X-Men at that point.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, the first season was great, and the finale just fizzled out.
Yeah. I'm actually going to go back and rewatch the first season.
So, yeah, it was a great premise, but, so I don't know. I'll probably check out Heroes Reborn, especially considering it's just a miniseries. So it's not going to be a full television run.
Yeah, I wonder how many people they're going to bring back. Probably not many.
Well, I know Horned Rim Glasses is coming back.
Yeah, Noah something or other. That's his name.
Yeah.
His real name is Jack Coleman.
The cheerleader is not coming back because she's already tied up in another show. Hayden Panettiere. She's tied up in another show. Masioka is on Hawaii Five-0.
I don't think Ali Larter is coming back.
They killed her off, didn't they?
Did they? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
Nikki Sanders? I don't remember. Obviously, Zachary Quinto's not coming back.
Oh, I don't see why not.
He's probably pretty busy.
Well, they're not filming the next Star Trek movie yet. So I don't know what else he'd be doing.
Anything else, probably.
I don't know. I'll tell you one show that I'm really excited for. I don't know if you guys, we mentioned this in Next Level News a couple weeks ago. I'm actually really excited for the Wet Hot American Summer Netflix show. Just because they're bringing back the entire cast of the movie, including Paul Rudd and Bradley Cooper, which is just going to be fantastic. So I can't wait for that. So,
I never saw it.
You never saw Wet Hot American Summer?
No.
It's worth checking out. It's pretty good.
It's awesome.
Pretty good
and it's on Netflix too. They have it always up on the top on Netflix. Zachary Quinto is in the slap, by the way, so he won't be able to be in the Hero movie.
Oh, okay.
He's in a much better NBC show.
Well, is there any listing to any of the actors who are coming back for Heroes Reborn?
No, just there were 2, Jack Coleman, and I think Milo.
Oh, and Zachary Levi from Chuck is actually signed on.
That's right, Zachary Levi. That's who it was.
Okay, now it's piqued my interest because I'm a big Zachary Levi fan ever since Chuck. So maybe now I'm actually going to have to watch it.
He was not in the original, right?
No, he was not.
Okay.
Chuck is another show I loved and I wish they would bring back, but I'm kind of happy with the way they wrapped it up. So it's that was one of those shows that was struggling in the last couple seasons, but just by the skin of its teeth kept getting renewed. And then they finally told them during the 5th season, hey, this is going to be your last season, so wrap the story up.
Yeah, I think that's how what happened to Fringe, too.
Yeah, I think so.
Same thing,
and Chuck's another one of those shows I would just love to go back and rewatch. Kind of like how I am with Wall Street now. So. But let's push forward and let's get ready to wrap things up and let's hit the Weird of the Week.
And now the Next Level Showcast presents the Weird of the Week.
First up on the Weird of the Week, we have Jack White's agency. Yes, Jack White from the White Stripes. His agency blacklists University of Oklahoma for publishing his guacamole recipe.
God.
Attendees of Jack White's concert at the University of Oklahoma on Monday better have had their fill because the musician won't be returning anytime soon. White's booking agency, William Morris Endeavor Entertainment, blacklisted Oklahoma after the school paper published his contract, which it obtained via the Freedom of Information Act. In addition to disclosing OU spent more than $80,000 to bring in White, the document contained numerous other amusing tidbits, including his preferred guacamole recipe, the band's strict no banana policy. I thought it said no bandana policy, which would actually made more sense. No, they have a no banana policy. And what's presumably White's personal meal of New York strip steak prepared medium, no sauce with clean steamed vegetables on the side. During the show, White reportedly addressed the publication, telling concert goers, "Just because you can type it on your computer doesn't make it right." Why is he telling that to, like, those people had nothing to do with, most of the concert goers had nothing to do with that getting put in.
Tell you what, it's Oklahoma's loss. I think Jack White's expecting a big night tonight. He's supposed to have one of the best albums of the year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, you know who else?
He's huge.
Do you know who else has been, what other city he has boycotted as well? Philadelphia. He's not coming back to Philly.
Why?
Something, I don't know. I probably had something to do with the fans. I have no idea.
The Daily News published a meatloaf recipe?
Maybe. But I did read somewhere that he has boycotted Philadelphia as well, so he will not be coming back to our area anytime soon.
Well, I mean, Oklahoma's no real loss. Like, what's in Oklahoma? Other than those colleges. Philly, though. It's Philly.
I don't know.
Pretzels, cheesesteaks.
Maybe he asked for a cheesesteak without, and they gave him wit. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Philadelphians know what that means.
He's going to start running out of places that have concerts, though.
If he keeps boycotting all these places, yeah.
He'll be in Manitoba, Canada pretty soon. Next up, last story, you have an angry owl terrorizing Oregon joggers. So Jack White probably boycotted Oregon now. Oregon officials are warning early morning joggers and park visitors in the state capital, Salem, to watch out for an owl who has an affinity for hats after at least 4 people were attacked in a month.
Are you saying owl? Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Owl. O-W-L.
Okay.
Look, if they would just accept the invitation to Hogwarts, this would all end.
It's true.
Seriously. That's a good point. You're a drummer, Harry. No one was seriously hurt. No one was seriously hurt in any of the incidents, but Brad Hilliard, 36, was one of at least 2 joggers who have lost their headgear in a brush with the bird. It's kind of amazing how it just swooped down and grabbed my hat like that, Hilliard told Reuters of how he became the acquisitive avian's latest victim early one morning this week. Keith Keever, the city's park superintendent, said officials have never heard of a case like this before.
That was 2 Harry Potter references in this podcast.
It's pretty good.
Now we have to have, we gotta see if we can get Daniel Radcliffe on for next week.
That's not a good idea.
Yeah, exactly. Or Rupert Grint.
Yeah, well, Radcliffe is too busy doing naked Broadway shows, isn't he?
He hasn't done one in a couple years.
Oh, okay.
So,
am I behind on that? That wraps up the Weird of the Week, though.
All right. That's pretty much going to bring this podcast to an end this week as well. So, before we wrap things up, remember next week, we're going to, Steve and Adam are going to have an interview next week, with her name's Maya. How do you pronounce her last name?
Erskine.
What was it? Okay.
Erskine.
From Man Seeking Woman on FX. And we will do the final 2 reviews next week with Boyhood and Selma, as well as our predictions for the Oscars the following week. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at NXT Level Radio. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Next Level Radio Online. And of course, subscribe to us on iTunes. Just go to the iTunes store and search Next Level Radio. Or Primetime Fantasy Football if you want to go back and listen to old podcasts for Primetime before they make their return later on this year. Check out our website, www.nextlevelradioonline.com, for past interviews as well as past shows. And I think that about wraps it up for this week.
Yeah. Thanks again to Amber Nash for coming on.
Oh man, that was so awesome. I can't wait to see if this thing actually comes to fruition.
Yeah, that would be pretty damn cool.
Yeah, it'll be a huge step for us.
Yeah.
If this actually happens. So you got a little tease of what it could be during the interview. But after talking to Amber after the interview, it could definitely be something a little bigger than what we anticipated. So, which would be awesome. So, but that's going to wrap it up for this week's Showcast. Enjoy the Grammys, which I know are airing as we're currently recording this podcast, and I have no interest in.
Jack White won every category.
Did he? Well, yeah. I know Sam Smith won Best New Artist.
And then proceeded to boycott the Grammys.
The Grammy Awards. Yeah. So, big diva. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this week's Showcast. We will see you around the bend, guys, and take care.
Later.
See ya.
I can get it up.